So you want to see how to build a flip switch. Luckily we're here in the 533 headquarters and I'm going to show you how to do that today. First things first is I have to go pack the order. We're going to get an arm kit and a body kit. So you see you have your 4 6mm arms right here, as well as the body kit, which includes the custom split standoffs, the aluminum camera mounting, and all of the hardware needed. Last thing you're gonna need is some TPU. That includes your camera mount. What color do I want? We'll do black. That includes your camera mount for both a nano camera or a micro camera, of course the DJI 03, but some people like to run HD0, which is like a nano camera. So the camera bracket does allow for both of those. In addition, you have your spacers for your split deck design and an antenna mount that works for not only the DJI 03 stock antenna, but an SMA mount as well. I'm gonna sit down here. The two tools that I have to build this thing today are a 2mm driver and a pair of snips. If you're running a nano camera, then you don't really need these pair of snips, but we're going to be shaving down the camera mount to fit with the DJI 03 camera, or really any micro-sized camera. So that will be these little triangular pieces right here. We'll worry about this in a little bit, but just to keep in mind as kind of an overview, these are your camera mounting pieces, which we are gonna go ahead and pull apart like so. You have your antenna mount right here, which will slide over the single back standoff, and it does wrap around that top plate to prevent it from twisting. And then you'll have your spacers here for that split deck design that also include a battery protector guard, if you will, that a lot of people ask for and is in the production model. First thing I'm going to do is take out all my arms. You can just take a knife to the bag, but I like to just pop them out like so. It's my little trick after taking apart and building a lot of frames packed in this way over my time. Okay. Then of course, coming on to our body plates, we're gonna get our 2 aluminum camera brackets out and set off to the side. Our top plate taken out, which is where your HD camera mount will go. Our mid plate with the installed press nuts. Spine plates, which will give the frame that rigidity that everybody wants so much. And then as well as, oh my goodness, this one's hard. Woo! And last but not least, your, I guess, bottom plate and top plate with the 533 logo silk screen on there, which I think looks super, super nice. Last thing you'll need is your hardware. I usually just take a 2mm, pry it through there, and voila. You have everything out that you'll need, and we'll go from there. So, like most 533 designs, the first thing you're going to do is put your stack hardware in. I like to run 20x20 stacks, such as the Foxeer stack or maybe the Hobbywing 20x20 stack. So you'll take your mid plate with the press nuts in there, find your preferred mounting, that could be 30x30 or 20x20, and toss your stack screws in there. This will be your long steel stack screws shown here. One thing I will note that was a mistake is that we did not include stack nuts. So that could be either nylon nuts or something like this, your metal nuts as seen here. Hopefully you have those laying around, and if you don't, please give us a call and we will get you some. But again, most of the time people have these laying around. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy electric screwdriver here and go ahead and install all 4 stack screws before moving to the next step. Now that we got our stack screws installed, we need to install our arms. You're gonna get your spine pieces, these little guys. You should have 2 of them, and we're gonna toss them in your mid plate first. So you'll see on your spine places, there's one side that has 2 notches and another side that has 3 notches. The 3-notch side will go into your mid plate. This may require some fiddling, but you should just be able to snap it in there for the most part. And then you're gonna be looking for your bottom plate, which I guess the easiest way is the only big plate you have left that doesn't have 533 silk screening on it. Then you're going to make a Z, kinda, if that's the correct terminology. You come over the top like so, get those double-sided notches that snap in, and you should have a pretty nice puzzle piece design like this. Basically what this will allow you to have is your camera mounting out on the front here, and then in the back you'll have your video transmitter mounting. You'll have your press nuts facing up along with your stack, and then your camera plate will be lower. Let me see. One thing as a double check to make sure you have everything correct is you have your stack screw access from the bottom. You will be able to install your 20 by 20 stack screw after doing this step. However, if you do run 30 by 30, you will only have access to the button head and can't actually install the screw after the fact. But if you've done it correctly and you installed your stacked screws beforehand, this isn't a problem. Just follow these steps and it should look something like so before we go into mounting our arms. The hardware required to install your arms are the next longest button head steel screws as seen here. You should have 4 of them in a little bag, and we're gonna take them out and grab our arms. The way these mount is they do overlap one another, but they also kind of wrap around the vertical piece. So what I want you to think about is the arm comes in and then drops down on the vertical piece. I'll demonstrate here. You can't do it upside down or anything, so you just come in and then drop it in like so. You'll see that the arm screw will align. Just grab your long screw and you'll go on the outside like so. I would not recommend tightening these down as you go, and more so just getting them snug on all 4 before securing everyone. Grabbing my second arm now, it will come in like so, allowing the 2 pieces of carbon to overlap over top of one another, and again, kind of hugging that vertical piece. I'll just come in here, tighten it up, and get the last 2 done. To finish up the arm structure, the last thing we're going to do is fill in these 2 holes in between the arms, which we usually call compression screws, something that's been in all the way back to our very first design, the Switchback Classic. Really just helps keep everything snug, compressed, and structurally sound over lots of crashes. The screws we're gonna be using for that are these right here. There's gonna be a bag with just a couple in there. Take those out and they should drop in really easy. Once again, just right in here, tighten those up. And once you have these 2 in, I would recommend you go ahead and snug all 6 of these up because the structure of your frame will be complete at this point. Okay. So, one thing I will note is that you should have some exposed threads on top of all the press nuts that you just tightened your arms down to. This will be for the standoff, so don't worry about it, and we will get there in just a second. The next thing we're going to move on to is mounting the camera plates. So you will notice that these have an A and a B. To make sure you install them properly, you'll see that there is a flat side and a milled outside. There's only one way that they can be fit on if done properly, and that is with the flat side on the inside. And this notch should help you a lot. So you'll see, I'll take this one, press it in the notch. The flat side is on the inside and the screw hole lines up, and then mirror that exactly like so. I guess one additional note would be that they will slant back, if that's the proper terminology. So you'll see they're kind of on a backwards angle like so, pushed back towards the stack screws. So make sure the notch drops in, they're slanted back, and the flat side is on the inside. And to secure these camera plates, we're going to use the 2 shortest button head screws included in the kit. It'll be a bag, just 2 of them. Flip the frame over, and they'll just drop in like so. Once again, using your 2mm driver. We'll tighten these up and move on to installing the 3D printed camera adapters. This will be the part where I show you how to properly trim them to fit a micro camera, if that's what you're using. You'll see that there's a triangle, and they should be able to just slide in as you see here. And then you'll get your handy dandy side cutters, and we're going to, if using a micro camera, cut them flush, allowing it to fit perfectly. Mondo recommends that you do 3 cuts. So you'll come in from the top to do your first one, come in from the front to do your second one, and then there should pretty much just be room for one more there at the end. And as he says, after that, you will have a micro cam mount just after that. As you see, I'm doing closer to 6, but just come in there, and as long as it gets flush, it doesn't have to be pretty, but you'll see you have the room for a micro cam now. The reason the mount is this way is because we needed a universal mount to accommodate both nano cams and micro cams. And since nano cams are smaller, we have to make that the universal way and then allow material to come off to fit micro. If you want to print your own, all of the 3D printed files are on printables, as well as additional accessories like arm guards, antenna mounts, camera mounts, GoPro mounts, etc. This is just the universal mount that comes with all of the frames. Almost done. Now it's time to install the standoffs. We're going to start with the 2 custom CNC standoff design that allows for the split top deck. You'll see that they have a stair step there in the middle, and there's gonna be one side that's long and one side that's short. Short side's gonna be up on both of them, and they're going to mount on the exposed thread of the front arms closest to the camera mount. The next 3 will be your typical knurled standoff like so, and they will go in the remaining 3 spots. We are going to have to add 1 screw in the back, but the next 2 will drop in like so. And we'll add that last piece of hardware to get your 3rd standoff on. To install the last standoffs, find your bag that has the 5 button head screws. Come in from the bottom like so. Secure this screw to that back press nut. Once again, you'll have some exposed thread for your standoff to drop on. Before you throw your top plate on, you're going to need to put your antenna mount of choice on. Of course, this is the universal one as seen here. The only note to make sure this is installed correctly is that the little notch up here that your top plate will fit in should be facing up. And again, this will fit the stock DJI O3 antenna, or additionally an SMA mount here. Again, you can print your own from printables, but just make sure you install that before coming in over the top with your top plate. One thing to note is you'll get that snap because it's going to go over that thinner part of the standoff and land on that stair step. Then you will need your spacers as seen here, and you want to find the battery guard, which is that raised part. You'll drop it over the standoff and make sure the battery guard is facing back towards where your battery will be. Grab your camera plate like so, and as long as the notches line up, then you should be good to go here. I guess as a note, there is no up or down for the camera plate because everyone asked us to remove the countersunk holes, which I totally understand. Therefore, you're going to be using your normal button head screws to mount that. And then to finish the top plate, you'll be using your 3 countersunk screws, and you'll have a finished flip switch. These are the short countersunk screws as seen here. They will drop in like so, giving you a perfectly flat spot for your battery of choice. As you put in your last screw, you now have a finished flip switch. We couldn't be more excited to bring this community-led design to you guys in the market finally, just after Christmas, and I can't wait to see all of the flip switch clips we get throughout this upcoming year of 2024. Hope you guys enjoy, and maybe we'll have some more freestyle frames and cinematic frames out in the future. I don't know. Keep an eye out. Follow us here for more content and all of the latest at 533. Thanks for watching, and have a happy new year in 2024. See ya. All right, let's go fly.